Today we're going to be exploring the Rockaway Townsquare Mall in Rockaway, New Jersey. But before we go into the mall, I want to show you something really interesting out here in the parking lot. So right before we get to the mall, we can see this really interesting modern art sculpture here in the parking lot. Now this is called Stablet, and it's by an artist named Rita Blitt. And when this mall opened up in 1977, this sculpture was on display inside the mall, and it actually stood on the ground floor and extended up into the second floor. Yeah, right here. So this is called Stablet 35 Steel Sculpture by Rita Blitt, 1977. And so in the early years of this mall's operation, there were actually 5 similar sculptures by the same artist on display in this mall. This particular sculpture at one point was used as the mall's logo because of its striking appearance. And get a look at that. We can see some of the rust coming through the paint here. But I'm very glad that they kept this here on display for people to see because it's a really interesting, unique sculpture. So there was a movie that had scenes filmed in this mall. It was called Firstborn, and it had a young Sarah Jessica Parker in it. And if you look at the scenes that they shot in this mall, you can actually see this sculpture in the background. So it's a really cool little piece of mall history out here in the parking lot of the Rockaway Townsquare Mall. But anyway, let's go inside the mall. So I wanted to make a video about Rockaway Townsquare. This is different than the malls I usually feature. It's not dead, it's doing pretty well, and it's also not very old looking anymore. It's a modernized mall. It's owned by Simon, and if you know anything about Simon, they tend to take all the old school character of their malls and get rid of it. When I first came to this mall a few years ago, I really didn't like it. I thought it was just very bland, very boring looking. But as I spent more time here, I realized, no, there's a lot here in this mall to enjoy. So I want to show you the things about this mall that are cool. I would call this the hidden gem of New Jersey malls. You have a lot of other malls up north like Willowbrook, Garden State Plaza that get a lot of traffic, have a lot of business going for them. But this mall, it's quiet, it's peaceful, and it's relaxing. But it's nice and full. There's lots of good stores, lots of places to eat. So I want to take you today and show you why I think Rockaway Mall is one of the best malls in New Jersey. So this is the center court of the mall. And we can see the exposed rafters. That's kind of like the last remnant of the old school beauty of this mall. So even though this is kind of a whitewashed, blandified Simon mall, I still think it has a really nice chill vibe. This is a place I'll come when I want to go do some shopping or get some food. Has a good selection of stores here. And that's why I think that this mall is sort of a hidden gem amongst New Jersey's malls. And as you can see, it's almost fully occupied. So this mall is doing well. Certainly not a dead mall by any means. Yeah, just look at the angular exposed rafters up above us. Still some beauty in this mall showing through despite the Simon treatment. So this is the old Lord & Taylor, and it looks like they have pictures of the Historical Society meetup. That's interesting. I wonder if they're ever gonna put anything in this empty anchor. And just what is going on over here? It looks like we have a train ride and some animatronic animals. We have a giraffe and a panda. Look at that giraffe moving. That's kind of terrifying, but also amazing. So this is kind of an unusual looking GameStop with sort of this triangular opening. I think this was probably an EB Games before it was a GameStop. Very cool. Very old school looking GameStop. Alright, let's go take a look in this store. I think we might find something interesting. So we have Jesus and Mary right next to Goku and Rick and Morty. I love this old JCPenney with that bronze tinted glass. It's just so beautiful. And look at the way it reflects the skylights. So it looks like they've already opened up a furniture store in the old Forever 21. I guess that didn't take very long, but it's good that this mall is keeping their stores filled. Look at all those rugs. So we have a Cheesecake Factory and a P.F. Chang's. So a large portion of this mall is just devoted to sit-down restaurants. So I think that's a sign that this mall is doing pretty well, because those tend to bring in the business pretty well. You know, every time I see one of these P.F. Chang's horses, I always have the urge to just try and climb up on top of it. I don't think I should do that, though. I think they would probably kick me out of the mall. Well, they're not real plants, they're plastic, but I have to say they're pretty nice looking. Could have fooled me, but I guess plastic plants never die. I'll take plastic plants over nothing at all. We have a Hot Topic that still has this portal to hell opening. Here we have the elevator, and that's kind of cool looking. I don't think it's original, but it's still pretty neat. You can still see some of the 70s design on this skylight here. I mean, it's a shame it doesn't look like it used to, but it's still beautiful for what it is. And I still want to come and appreciate it. So there's a record store at this mall, but every time I come by, it's not open. So I don't know if this is just closed with all these records sitting here, or if they operate on limited hours, but everything's still in there. It's very strange. And like I said, I come to this mall often, and it's never open. I've never once seen it open. But it still has new stuff in there. So this is a pretty cool store. This is Kawaii Gifts, and it has a lot of like collectibles, blind boxes and things, but they have this cool section with all these crane games. I just love the vibe of places like this. Are those toenail clippers? Oh, look at this guy and his little teeth. Oh, it's Kirby. Look at these little capybaras with a cute little bird on their heads. They even have this wall of plushies that you can come and pose in front of. What kind of stuff do they have in here? All these blind box characters. I guess these are Demon Slayer, Hello Kitty. Oh, these are from Studio Ghibli movies. And of course the hottest item, the Labubu. So you can come here, you can get a Labubu, but you can also get outfits for your Labubu and decorative display cases for your Labubu. But they also have rideable Labubus, so you can put your Labubu on top of another Labubu. And look at this, they got big Labubus. Got baby doll Labubus. Okay, so Godzilla versus Labubu. Who do you think is going to win? What are these from? Dragon Ball Z? You know, I love anime, but I never got into Dragon Ball Z. Please don't kill me. You know, this may seem silly, but I actually appreciate that there are toy stores like this one back at malls, you know. For a while there, things like this just weren't around. It was mostly just clothing stores, so I like that there's fun stuff back at malls again, like this. There's actually a really great retro arcade here called Marcade Family Fun Center. Now, I have a full video of that, so be sure to check that out, and definitely come stop here, because this is a great place. We can walk down this section of the mall, and we can see more of these angular cutout portions. Again, a very 1970s style thing, and that's just one of the few features that still remains of how this mall originally looked. So we have this dollar store here, and I want to show you something that I'm probably the only person who will come to this mall and notice this. But around this column here, you can see this old neon light. I wonder how long that light has been there. Just, you know, sitting dead, not shining like it should be. Kind of makes me sad. Alright, let's take a walk in this dollar store and see if they have anything interesting. So I guess it's just kind of your typical mall dollar store stuff. Nothing too strange in here, but it's still a cool vibe. I've come to appreciate places like this. This is a shirt that only a real high roller can wear. All of these dollar store toys here. This stuff is fun. Farm animals and dinosaurs and things. Look at this, they got a chainsaw sword. That's wild. Temporary tattoos. They have all these old rewritable CDs. A whole lot of them. CD cases too. So this is pretty cool. They have a collectible card and gaming lounge here in this old Champs. Very cool. Not something I really participate in, but it's still cool that they have a place like this at the mall. So when this mall opened up in the 70s, this Macy's was a Bamberger's department store, and it later changed into Macy's when the company was bought out. But this still has some old school features inside of it. Let's go check those out. So here in the kitchen section, we have these recessed shelves with this chrome trim around it. That's definitely an old school feature. You wouldn't see something like that in a new store made nowadays, so I want to say that this is likely left over from when this store was originally a Bamberger's. Just look at all them. That's amazing. Let's walk up here. Yeah, we can see these chrome railings for this little stairway here. And back here, we have even more of this old school department store shelves. Yeah, look at this. That's awesome. So I think my favorite feature of this Macy's is this beautiful chandelier that they have hanging above the escalators. Just look at that. This whole area has a very retro look to it. We have this mirrored trim along the ceiling and this sort of pinkish mauve color to the jewelry counter. Feels like an old school department store for sure. Very beautiful. This sort of angular architecture to this section of the store just has a very old school feel to it. Look at these old track lights. And this smoky mirror here. Very cool vintage department store features. And here we have a forgotten relic of a bygone age, an old payphone. There aren't very many of these around anymore, and it's even rarer to find one that works. I don't think this one works, but hasn't been destroyed or vandalized like so many of the ones I've seen around. Hey Mom, I'm at the mall. Can you come pick me up? I'm feeling hungry. I think it's time we check out the food court. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's not the food court, it's the dining pavilion. So in my opinion, this is one of the best mall food courts that I've been to. You have a lot of the typical options like Master Wok, Popeyes, but then you have more interesting things like Sushi Burrito. Over there's Cuban Eddie's. Over on this side we have Cafe Lombia and Lola's, which is really good food here. So I think this is a really great food court. So I'm going to enjoy my teriyaki as I sit next to the opening to a vacant Sears. So I know a lot of folks, especially mall-obsessed weirdos like myself, aren't a big fan of these Simon malls that have been changed and stripped out of all their unique charm. But I still like going to this mall. I still think it's a great experience. It just has a very chill vibe to it, and it just has a lot of fun stuff to do in it. So I think Rockaway Townsquare is worth visiting and checking out. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.